CBSE has a lot to offer, among other things a powerful graphic logic module. Within this module we can find standard gates such as AND, OR, inverted, etc. But also more complex gates including comparators, mathematical operation, converters, etc. All these allow for the creation of complex logic pages. In order to access the logic module, we go to the menu Modules, Logic. The logic editor is divided into three parts. On the left-hand side, we find two tabs. The list of logic configurations that can be sorted out in folders if necessary, and the logic gates that are available for using them in our configurations. On the right-hand side of the editor, we find the properties of either the logic page or logic gate that is currently selected with the purpose of undertaking the required changes. The central area is meant for design purposes. Here we can see the logic page and its gates in visual form. If we call up the contextual menu behind the list of logic pages, we will access the options related to the creation and deletion of both the logic pages and their folders. We select the option New Logic Page. A new list has been added to the list and uploaded into the editor's central area. In the Properties tab, on the right-hand side, we can modify its features, starting with the name, an optional description, an icon for the list, the size, or specify whether the logic of this page is enabled or disabled. On the left part, we select the tab Logic. From here, we can add gates and logic functions to the page. Let us see how to build a simple logic structure. We add, for instance, two inputs into the design area by drag and drop. A logic gate of mathematical functions and one input gate. Next, we wish to sum up the values of both logic inputs and then send the values to the output. If we select the first gate, we see its properties displayed on the right-hand side of the editor. Here, we select the process point, whose status value will be the first input value in our logic. We can define a default value. This way, whenever we do not select any process point or the selected process point does not have a known value, the system will take the default value as the input value for the logic gate. We select the second input gate, and in this case, we do not select any process point. We just establish a default value. Now we must send the value of the logic inputs to the gate in charge of summing up their values. As we can see in the design area, the logic gates have, depending on the type, inputs to the gate, outputs from the gate, or both, that are represented by incoming or outgoing arrows respectively. These gate inputs and outputs will be linked among themselves so as to create the logic's information flow. One gate's input can only be connected with another gate's input, and vice versa. Let's connect the outputs of our project's input gates with the inputs of the mathematical functions gate. To do so, we press on the first gate's outgoing arrow. We drag it over one of the inputs of the sum gate and drop it. A link has been created. We now do it again with the second input gate. Now we select the sum gate. Within its properties, we can select a pre-configured operation, or else the equations editor in order to generate our own function. We recommend you double-click on this field in order to have the editor displayed in a separate window, so we will have additional options available. If we need to support on the functions, then we can click on the Help button to call up IPAS's own wiki, containing the list of available functions and operators. Please keep in mind that inputs and outputs can be identified by their own name. That always appears in square brackets. These names can be modified into the logic gate's properties. We can access the contextual menu attached to the equations editor in order to insert inputs or outputs in the equation. We write the equation. We can press on the button Test so as to verify the equation's correct format, and then press Accept to end up the addition of the equation. We can indicate whether finally we send the result of the operation to the logic's output. To do so, we link the sums gate output to the input of the logic's output gate. We select the outputs gate, and within its properties we select the process point to which the logic's result will be sent. The next step is saving the changes. To do so, we press the button Save. If we go to the tab of Logic Pages, we can see that there is a grey indicator beside this page. This means that the changes made in the logic are not yet effective. So that changes apply, we must press the button Activate. As you can see, the indicator turns green. This way, we will know that logic is working with all recent changes made. Thank you for your attention.